Okay, imagine this scenario. It's been a little while since you've seen a friend or family member, or you're meeting someone for the first time, and they have a child that you haven't met.
By definition, being an adult means it's been a little while since childhood. There's been a lot of activity in between those times, and it's completely understandable if you've forgotten how to speak with the little humans.
So we invited our friend Chelsea Dawn of the YouTube channel Practical Poppins to give us some tips on how to speak and interact with children. Take it away, Chelsea.
Hi, I'm Chelsea. I've been a preschool teacher and a nanny for the past 10 years, and I've got a channel. It's called Practical Poppins, and it's all about parenting and nannying and kids. So I'm here to give you a couple of tips on how to speak and interact with children. The first thing to remember is children are humans, just like you. If you're not used to being around kids, I know it can be tempting to speak down to them or talk to them in baby talk, but honestly, you really don't have to do that. You can speak to a child the same way you speak to anyone else. In fact, that's the best way to speak to them. It's been proven that children learn their language skills much faster when they're being spoken to using full sentences versus baby talk. For example, it's better to say, even to a 5-month-old infant, "Would you like your bottle?" versus, "Baby want a baba?" And children understand more language than you might think. For example, a 1-year-old child who might only be able to speak 5 or 10 words clearly has the ability to understand and follow simple 1- or 2-step instructions. For instance, you could say, "Can you point to that crayon?" And they can do it. Or, "Can you find the ball and bring it back to me?" Small children are really much smarter than we sometimes give them credit for. Now, if you're going over to a friend's house to meet their children, make sure that when you arrive, you ask if they'd like you to take off your shoes. Now, I know this might sound a little bit weird, but if you're arriving at a household with mobile babies and toddlers, most caregivers would prefer that you take off your shoes so that the floor doesn't get so dirty for those little crawling hands. Also, if you're meeting someone's infant for the first time, please don't touch the baby right away. I know it's really tempting. Their cheeks are so soft and their tiny little hands and feet are just so cute. But please don't touch the baby until you've washed your hands and been invited to touch the baby. Infants' immune systems aren't that strong for the first few months, and a lot of parents and caregivers are very particular about when and to whom they give the baby for snuggles. But don't worry, if you wash your hands and you're patient, you'll most likely get some baby snuggles. As for older children, if you're meeting an older toddler or preschooler for the first time, even if they're a child of a close relative or friend, don't expect a hug or a kiss right away. Just like you might have rules for your personal space, so do kids. A simple wave hello or offering a high five is the perfect way to introduce yourself. And don't be offended if the child hides behind their parents' or caregiver's legs. You are new and tall and have a much louder voice than they do. They're gonna need a minute or 2 to warm up. Which brings me to my next tip. Whenever possible, get down on the child's eye level when you're speaking with them. Kneeling, crouching, or just bowing down a little bit to be on the child's eye level when you're introducing yourself will make a huge difference, I promise. You'll instantly seem less intimidating and more like a friend. Number 4, when meeting older children, anywhere from 5 to 13 years old, especially girls, please don't just comment on their appearance. I know it can be a common impulse, and sometimes it is for me too, but I think we as adults need to really be conscious about how we're speaking to our kids. And especially when we're speaking to girls, we need to make sure that they know that they're valuable for more than just their appearance. If you feel like you need to tell them they're pretty or compliment them in some way, that's fine. Just don't make it everything you say to them. A few things you could say to younger kids are, "I really like the color of your shirt. Is that your favorite color?" Or, "Wow, your hair's in a really fancy braid. Did you do that yourself?" Or my personal favorite, "Wow, those shoes look like they're really good for running fast. Can you show me how fast you can run in them?" And when you're speaking with older children, go where they are. By that I mean, if they want to talk about dinosaurs, talk about dinosaurs. If they want to talk about princesses or robots or what they're learning in school, talk to them about that. And be really interested. If you give them a few undivided minutes of your time, you'll build a connection and they'll feel like you really listened. Plus, they'll be much more willing to step back for a few minutes when it's time for you to chat with their parents or caregivers. And finally, keep a sense of humor about you. Sometimes I like to think that being around kids gives me an act strange or silly anytime I want free of judgment card. Keep in mind that any child you meet might feel like dressing up like a monkey that day, or might want to do cartwheels all the way down the street while you're walking with their parents. Children don't have the same self-conscious hang-ups that we adults do, and therefore they might do something a little weird or act totally silly sometimes. And that's awesome. You could be making a totally weird face at a baby or dancing and singing a silly song with a 3-year-old, and no matter where you are, if people are giving you funny looks, you can just say, "Hey, I'm not weird. I'm just playing with the baby." That's one of the best parts about being around kids, honestly, is being totally weird and goofy with them and having the best excuse. So those are all the tips I have for you today. If you have any more questions about kids or parenting in general, please leave a comment down below. And thank you so much to the How to Adult team for having me on as a guest.
Thank you for the advice, Chelsea.
Yeah, I love that when I have a baby on me, I can sing in public and everybody's like, that's normal, he's just singing to the baby. I'm probably just singing.
If you want to see more of Chelsea and get some great advice about kids and parenting in general, check out her channel, Practical Poppins.
And if you want to see more of Rachel and me and other excellent guest hosts, subscribe to us at youtube.com/learnhowtoadult.
If you're not familiar with them, which some people aren't, even though I am, but that's okay. That's why I'm here. If you're not, what's my next line? Okay. Tip number 4. That's tip number 8 if we look at it that way. I've started to go loopy because look at my little periodic table blocks. They're my favorite thing. Why do I do this a lot? Gesticulating wildly. Now, if only I had a catchphrase. Maybe next time. Bye.